Two Ton Nerds. As always, my name is Max James, and this is Let's Watch True Blood, a series retrospective where I'll be watching all 70 episodes of True Blood. And this is episode 4, Escape from the Dragon House. That's the title for this episode, and a lot happens. But before I kind of get into that, I do have to kind of reveal a few things. Nothing about the episode, about my other project going on within this project. I have not started my little regimen of kind of losing weight, but I'm still at 340 because this past Sunday, today's Monday's episode, because last night was WrestleMania, and I usually go all out on WrestleMania, so it's kind of a nice fitting end a way to kind of move into a next direction. We had steaks, baked potato, and corn. I mean, I had to go out with a bang, and that's how I did it. So, enough about that. Back to this project, True Blood. In this episode, a lot happens. Actually, we get to see new locations. It takes place right after Dawn was found dead by Sookie, and Jason comes in carrying flowers, and soon after that, the next door neighbor who heard him fighting the night before comes in, and she immediately calls the cops, and Jason is prime suspect number 1 for killing Dawn. So, and the whole town, or the whole block, is out there watching them carry her out and what's going on in the house, and is just asking routine questions like, is that how the body found her, and was the door unlocked, and then you could see Sheriff Dearborn writing down like killer needed a key, and it was like, okay. Then while outside, Sookie and Sam were talking, and one of the deputies come out and's like, hey, do you have a key for the storage unit? And he's like, yeah, I got a key. So it's kind of building towards one way of trying to hint at one thing, and once you see the episode, you understand how they're kind of showing it, and it's pretty cool. They're building towards Sam may be the killer, and that's because like he had the key, and a few other instances as well in this episode. There's a picture of Dawn and Sam in the bar. They're kind of intertwined with their arms around each other. But since back to the crime scene, Jason is being fingered as the prime suspect, so he's hauled off, and he realizes that he still has the vial of V juice from Lafayette, so he downs it after being explicitly told 1 to 2 drops max, and it's probably about that big vial wise, and he drinks it all, and that's where problems start to ensue for Jason. So while being questioned at the police station, things start to go wrong, and so he takes off for the bathroom, and Tara shows up and's like, and she's basically doing Jason's lawyer work. It's like, has he been Mirandaized? And they're like, no. And so he's like, we're taking off with him. And she also gives a false alibi for Jason's like, oh, they were together last night, to give Jason an alibi. And obviously that wasn't right, because Jason said he was home alone. So we also learn why Tara kind of has a thing for Jason, because there's a flashback scene where Tara is running from her alcoholic mother, and she runs up to the house, and I don't think Sookie is home, but Jason is, and he basically sticks up for Tara and is like, hey, we'll call the cops if you don't get off my property, kind of thing. And she's like, all right. And then she just kind of scampers away or backs off and goes back to do her own thing, and kind of comes back to Tara, and she has a smile on her face because Tara takes Jason to the hospital, and because of the side effects of the V juice, I don't want to tell you what happens, but just say a certain part of the male anatomy becomes eggplant-esque, and so you'll kind of understand what happens, and once you see the episode. So then you also get Tara. Sorry, that's about the end of that little story arc. Then you got Sookie and Bill. They kind of go off and do their own thing because their grandmother for Jason and Sookie, she asked Sookie to do just listen to everybody, and they're basically everyone has made up their mind that Jason has done it, and so she's not getting anywhere. And then she learns that there's a vampire bar just a short drive away, so she asked Bill to take her, and Bill does. So they go and they meet one of the best vampires in the show, Eric Northman, and as well as Pam, and who are going to be quite prominent in the series to come. And so while questioning about the two girls who have been murdered, she accidentally kind of gives away her ability in a way to Northman, and Bill's like, no, don't do it. And she does because the police raid Fantasia, that's the name of the bar, and it's like, we're doing nothing illegal here. And she's like, oh, there's someone getting fed on in the bathroom, and it's like, oh, time to get out of here. So they take off, and that's where we kind of meet a more ruthless side of Bill a little bit. Bill gets pulled over by a cop who's like, were you at the raid at the Fantasia at the bar tonight? And like, no. And he obviously can tell that she was a vampire, or he was a vampire, and he keeps shining the light on Sookie. And Bill didn't take too kindly to this, so he glamored the cop and takes his gun and tells him, hey, be careful. But the way he does it is very, like, you don't quite know what he's going to do. And it's a nice scene. And then he goes back. They just that's about the end for them for the episode. Then it cuts back to Sam. Sam wasn't in this episode very much, but he has a few he's very key in some scenes, like pulling the key out when the killer needed a key, and having a picture of him and Dawn on the bar. And then Sam unlocks the door of Dawn's apartment, goes in, and just with rubber gloves and just kind of sniffing the sheets, and it's hinting that something isn't right with Sam, and that's what's really great. And it's just building up to a nice reveal later on, which I'll get to that. But that's all that happened in this episode. Tara also finds out that Lafayette is dealing V, and that will come into play a little later, I think, if I remember. It's been a while since I've seen this season, so that's really about it. My name is Max James, and I'm gonna go geek out.